Hello and welcome back to another chocolate rocket video. This one is day number 3 for me at the Intelligentsia Cup, and what I like to call one of my favorite crits that I've ever done. Suburb outside of Chicago in the city of Lake Bluff, right along Lake Michigan. Really cool course. This stretch right here is like really the only stretch of bad road, and it's not bad at all, to be honest with you. Six really tight corners, which require some skill, some nerve, and I'm just going to take you through the first lap so you can see the course. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and click that button, subscribe, and you could also click that little bell if you want to get updates of when I post videos. I will have a few more videos from bike racing this year, as I still have some races left on the calendar. So if you enjoy this stuff, just go ahead and like. Yeah, like I said, this is a fun, fast course. This is like the third or fourth tight turn right here. And then this is a pretty fast straightaway, which takes us into the last corner, which is another tight but really smooth corner. If you overshoot it, I guess you could end up in someone's front yard, which is um, better than on the ground. And then you can't tell from this angle, but it's a false flat uphill with a bit of a headwind and a very long sprint. I've raced this race numerous times as a pro. This is my first time ever doing it as a master. And to my surprise, man, we were moving pretty good. This was a good, solid field, a lot of good riders, and everyone raced pretty fast. So that's the first lap. This one's going to be a long one, so hold tight if you want to see the entire race. So within the first few laps, there was already a split, and that's been the theme of these Masters races. And as you can see, it's the same tactics. It's get somebody in the break, sit up, force us to chase, force methods to win in the chase, which I did here. I told Steven, my teammate, this morning, I was like, man, I think I probably covered at least like 15 to 20 moves. And this is just one of many. And this was in the first few laps. So you can see my watts are actually over 1,000. And this is in the first few laps. I don't even think I hit 1,200 watts in the sprint towards the end. So this was a danger move. Jaden and Sally was up there. Um, However, there were two fast guys, which if Steven or Jaden can't get off the front, we lose the race. So I decided to jump across, which I knew I would take one of the White brothers, which is fine. Um, they have numbers, so we're 3 against 3 for the most part. The I guess the upside for them is that they could ride hard and have some speed at the end. Steven is not much of a sprinter, and Jaden is not much of a sprinter, so I'm kind of the only one who has the closing speed. And once again, this is kind of like the theme. Gaps are opening, and I decided today, on this day, that I won't even waste my time like playing any games with anyone. Just ride. I didn't open my mouth at all to anyone until like the last couple of laps when things got really dicey. There's a lot of chatter to me, people saying stuff, blah blah blah, and it reminded me of when I was a pro. Some of the things that I'm dealing with right now out in Intelligentsia, I actually had some of these issues as a pro. I don't know if it's jealousy, envy, I don't know if it's hate, I don't know what it is, but I've dealt with a lot of this stuff throughout my career, and it's interesting that the negativity that's happening in the 40 plus race, we supposed to be having fun and kicking back some beers after the race. Instead, we're going at each other. This was a little scary moment. Oh, this is not it yet. But yeah, we went through this corner on one lap, and someone had a little boo boo, and he ended up being okay. So you'll see that later. But yeah, it was just kind of like full gas. You know, the race was an hour long, and I remember looking down, and we were only like 20 minutes in. I was like, holy crap! I think this is where it happened. Just bad angle, clipped the pedal, and luckily, there was some nice soft grass there, um, and I was able to avoid the crash. Like I said, he was okay. He ended up getting back in the race, and place back into the break, which is happening right now. As you can see behind me, there's not much going on. There's just a couple riders behind me, and then these splits are happening. So the course is so flowy, even though there's tight turns, it's so flowy. You don't really have to like make these massive efforts to get back on the wheel. As you can see right here, I mean, I'm taking my time, methodically picking my way to get back up to these to this lead group. I mean, if I just like haul and get up there super fast, that sets me up for a counter attack, right? Because I've just used this massive big effort. It's hard to get going again. If you've made, if you've done intervals before, you understand how that feels. If you have like a 30-second on and a 5-second off, and then after about your second 30-second on, it's very hard for you to have that same violent effort that you had in the first one. So I'm always, thinking about how these things are going to work out. And once again, let the gap open. It was just constant all day long, letting gaps open. Is it illegal? No. Is it bad tactics? Who knows? That's their tactic. It's definitely, you can't be mad at their tactics. You just have to figure out how to beat it. And today's course was perfect for it. If you wanted to sit up, totally fine. There's 6 turns that I can make up space without really giving a hard effort. So it didn't really work out in their favor. But you do what you got to do to try to win. And again, it's not dirty. It's definitely nothing wrong with it. It's just annoying. Yeah, so man, Steven and I actually rode over to the race, which took about an hour. A really beautiful ride, to be honest with you. And I think that helped us out a lot because we were nice and warm. We got there about 30 minutes before the start. Didn't have a lot of time to play around, just kind of get our stuff together, swap wheels, and get in the race. This was probably the first time the race slowed down, and once it did slow down, no one really sat more than like, I don't know, 5 seconds, 10 seconds before someone else attacked. And it was fun, it hurt, but it was fun being able to like really race hard and compete at what I felt was a high level because, man, I felt like I was at it the entire race, just like covering moves, closing gaps, and just thankful to have 2 really good teammates, Jaden being one who made the final split, and Steven for being up there early on and helping us establish this break. Because I don't know, man, sometimes I know for myself when I don't have teammates, it's just something within me where I could race a little harder, because you don't have anyone else to depend on. I was fortunate to have Jaden up here today at Lake Bluff because he just did some amazing work riding tempo, bringing back breaks, and really allowing me to save a lot of energy. And I didn't save a lot of energy. As you can see, some of these gaps I had to close were pretty substantial and use a lot of energy. Something I found out this morning, I looked at the times from the pro race yesterday. And so, see that move right there, I could totally see him getting ready to just sit up, and it's like, why? Why? But whatever. You just go around, like I said, you just race your own race. But I was looking at the results from yesterday's pro race. Legion of Los Angeles won Ty Magner, and they raced an hour. They averaged 28.5 miles an hour. They did 30 miles. We averaged 27.5 and did 20, I think it was 26 miles or something like that. So that just goes to show you we're not far off. This 40 plus field wasn't far off from what the pros did. They raced 4 more miles than us and went just about 1 mile an hour faster than us. So to put that in perspective, that's pretty significant. You could take everyone in this break and probably put them in the pro race and they'll be able to survive. I would say the big difference between the Masters field and the pro field is that you don't have to navigate a massive field, which is 1, stressful, 2, it adds another dynamic when it comes to cornering. I remember racing this race as a pro. I mean, you're single file the entire time. I'm actually going to go back and see if I had Strava back then to see what our speeds were 10 years ago, before disc brakes and all that stuff. So yeah, so this was, like I said, another time where it slowed down, but you can see 2 seconds later, someone attacks, and it, this was just like, for me it was perfect because I was able to not use a lot of energy, like big energy, right? I always try to talk to my guy Steven about this because he's one of our worker bees, right? It's like, don't get to the point where you have to sprint out of the saddle all the time. When you're covering moves, you want to be able to just stay on, keep the pressure on, and roll back to the move, just as I did right here. Um, and always paying attention. And there it again, just it was constant. Like I said, I actually enjoyed it. Beautiful day out here, and there's Jaden to get back on the front and the set tempo. And the reason you would do that is just to slow down the attacks. The faster that tempo speed, the less likelihood you're going to attack. So um, I was actually happy with this move right here. Um, and even this one too. So three guys across, Jaden being one of them. He's a really, really strong rider, and I was okay with him going off the front with those two because if all three, if those two guys actually work with him, I think that he would have attacked him and rode away from him. But the likelihood of one of the White brothers actually riding with Jaden is probably zero. So when I saw the fourth guy go across, I said I gotta go because if those guys start attacking, he's alone, and then next thing you know, they start playing games, and one guy slips off the front, and now Jaden and I are in a position where we have to chase. So didn't want that to happen, so I followed, and it took me a long time actually to get on the wheel. I was just talking about how to do it methodically. This one was a bit long for me. You can see it's already almost half a lap, and I'm not on the wheel yet. But again, I didn't want to go too deep. You don't want to redline until you absolutely have to. Um, and I did redline a couple times. You can see my heart rate right now is 171. Redlining for me is around 178, which is pretty high. I've seen 182 this year, which is pretty high. So I mean, look, I'm still not on the wheel. We're talking about almost a lap later, and this was a hard section for me. I think it was the hardest part of the course, to be honest with you. False flat uphill with a headwind, and it was a long way from the bottom to the top. And as you can see, there's just one rider behind me. Thankfully, they sat up. Perhaps they saw me coming across and figured it wasn't worth it. But at this point, this is the break that's gonna eventually lap the field. We were off the front from pretty much lap two. Some were off the front from lap one. I believe I actually connected to the front group on lap three. So for the most part, yeah, just been on the front, kind of drilling it, following moves. And this series for me so far, even though I didn't start when they started, the Intelligentsia actually started a week, no, about 4 days before I arrived. And I'm not saying everyone raced every day, but the last 3 days that I've raced has been really good for me. I was excited to actually get off the plane and do the first day where I got fourth out in Northbrook, and feel like my legs were good. Sometimes you get off a plane the same day and race, you're just like, you're in bad shape. But I wasn't. The legs were good. So just fast forwarding here, I'm just picking some spots where I thought were pretty interesting. We have about 12 laps to go right here, and I'm actually feeling better and better and better as the race go on. The longer the race has been, the better I've become, and I'm getting more and more comfortable, and not really struggling to push on the pedals, and just things are coming a little more easy for me. That was a retaliation dive. If you go back about 10 seconds, you'll see why. And then the other brother tried to pinch me here. Whatever, man. I didn't say a word. I just kind of did my thing, let them do their thing, and I just raced my bike. I knew that move wasn't going to go anywhere because no sprinter in their right mind would ever work with Jaden. He's just going to absolutely destroy them. So, I mean, if we weren't on the same team, I would definitely try to work with him. Maybe if he's taking 20-second pulls, I'll take like 5-second pulls and hope that he can't just ride away from me, and then I'll try to beat him in the sprint. But I wouldn't just totally sit on, you know. But that's just my style. And another thing you may notice, I have been rocking my camera up on my head, and the homie Marco hooked me up with a mount for my handlebar. I just wanted to change it up. You know, having the GoPro on your head is cool, so it gives you a different perspective, but it does kind of wear on you. It's a little heavy, and you could feel kind of like that weight. So decided to change it up a little bit and give a different perspective, which I actually like this point of view because it feels like you're more in the race. So now we have lap to field, and this one things got a little crazy. The group I was with actually went through the field really fast, and I lost the wheel. Like I didn't follow the right line, and now I'm in the back. They're attacking already off the front, and I'm just, yeah, taking risk. Right here has got really bad. Almost crashed. I mean, I went from whatever we were doing 20 plus to 15 miles an hour, and then I had to get going. So all the space that I made up, I lost it in that one corner. So I'm just going to speed this up and show you how much effort it took for me to get from the back to the front, and I'm using the corners to make up space. So I'll just let you guys watch. So yeah, that was 2 laps making up space, and put that down to about 15 seconds. And I think this is 2 to go. So this is where it gets a little hairy. You can see some handlebars appear right there. He hit me again, then he hit me with his knee. And I'm just like, for what? Your teammate is right there. Tell him to go faster. Why throw your knee out on me? Now it's the rider right behind me. I had, you know, and he's yelling at me right now that I didn't lap the field and I need to get out of the way and all this stuff. And I'm just like, who are you? What have you been looking at? You know? And maybe that's his teammate saying that. I don't know who. Yeah, I think maybe that was his teammate. So his teammate didn't know that I lapped the field. And neither did he. So why would he be up there trying to kick me out if that was the point? That was just the most bizarre moment of the entire race. Even more bizarre than the hook that you will see at the end of the race that almost put me into the fence for 2 weeks in the world. Justin actually put me into a fence, my own homie, at Manhattan Beach last week in the pro race, which took me from second to fifth. I was feeling really good in that sprint, but you know, whatever. It is what it is. Live to fight another day. So this is it. So in my head right now, I'm thinking third wheel out of the corner, third wheel out of the corner, and you're never gonna count the lead out guy, right? Even though I'm gonna come out of the corner fourth, you're never gonna count the guy on the front that's leading out, because he's not gonna be able to sprint to the line if he's doing a proper lead out. So this is 1 lap to go, crossing the line right here. And this is like what I live for. This is what I get excited about. One mistake that Jaden did make is just not protecting the course. And maybe it's not as important in Masters racing, but like if there were guys that had the horsepower to jump and go around Jaden's lead out, we kind of like left to high and dry. So you want to protect your line so people are not jumping you in the lead out. So this was just beautiful for me. I was able to sit here. I don't even think I looked back because the speeds were high enough that I knew no one was gonna try anything. The only time I think I looked was going into the last corner. I wanted to see what was going on, but I didn't feel like, sometimes you can feel it. So some of you sprinters out there may know what I'm talking about. Like, you just know when someone's coming. You don't hear it, you can just feel it. And so, 30 miles an hour right here, I'm kind of poking out to the left just a little bit, just to make sure that no one comes underneath me. And I stay for a while, then I pop out to the right so I can take a better angle at the corner. And this is where things get dicey. The rider behind me got a good jump on me, no doubt. He comes around, look where we are, and look where I end up because of his shady move. and I yell, I had to back out and try to get going again. And it just took a few more pedal strokes to get up to speed, and came across the line and was able to beat him. And then he hits me right here and grabs my handlebars. I could have crashed. I'm like, why are you touching me? And then he tells me he could touch me if he wants. I'm like, no, you can't. So I got some behind the scenes footage of this. I'll post somewhere else, but super grateful for the win. Thanks for watching, and hope you liked it. Peace.